Right, we'll try that again. Like I said, if there is anybody there, we'll just give it 2 moments. 5 people there, got you. We're going to give this 2 moments just to let people catch up because we've had technical difficulties, as we usually do. I do have a list of questions here that are from people that possibly couldn't make it to the live, but they still wanted to get their question in. Thank you very much for joining us. Is everyone's feed black too? Hope not.
Just give it a minute, it's going to take a little second.
The thumbnail pic looks like a scorpion fish. Are they dangerous? Thumbnail pic? I don't know. Right, seeing there's people on here now, can I just ask real quickly, is the audio okay and can you see us all right before we start? Hello from St Ives, got you. Yep, all good, saltwater fisherman, fine, all fine, brilliant, that's what I wanted to hear. Some of you may have already noticed I am sporting, yeah, a couple of people said straight away on the video, on the John Dory video, they said you're going to have to make that into a t-shirt, so that was what I did, and I absolutely love it, I think it's fantastic. I can finally wear one now.
Sure.
Mark, how's it going? Mark from Falcatch. I'll actually, I'm going to text you after this. I meant to text you earlier on, but my memory's terrible and Hannah's in charge of the diary. We will, you are right. The first thing that I will say is Scott Senior, we have a guy who follows the channel a lot and he's always interacting. He's actually in hospital right now, watching this. Mate, honestly, I hope you're feeling an awful lot better, and if you're at a loss end, if you're feeling like you need someone to chat to, just give us a message and I'll give you a shout, right? So get well. I'm sure everyone here as well will.
Someone's just said, can we turn it up? No, you need to turn it up. This is our voices.
I'm sure that everyone will join me in wishing Scott a speedy recovery. The first question I'll pile straight into is from LRS Fishing. And it's in regarding to the snorkeling, diving, free diving type videos that I've been doing. And he said, how did you become confident in diving and snorkeling, and how long did it take you? Well, believe it or not, I've actually, another thing in top of the fishing is I've been doing this since I was a kid. I was fortunate enough that when I was younger, when I was a young'un, my I don't know if you did the same thing when you were little and you went to SEALs, when you went to swimming club. Well, there was actually one called Sub Aqua Club that was in Whitby. It was in a swimming baths in Whitby, and me and my brothers and sisters all went to that. And I think it was BSAC. You got like a little badge that you sewed onto your speedos, and it was snorkeling proficiency. So I've been doing this since I was 10 or 11 years old. I'm lucky enough that I've been all over the world doing it as well. I've been to the Red Sea, I've been to Barrier Reef. I have been doing this a long time. But the one thing that I would definitely try to not tell you, but encourage you, is that go at your own pace. Go with what you're confident in. People who get into trouble are the ones that try and push it. Snorkeling, especially in the UK, you need to be sure of the tide. People who've been to the Mediterranean and then the Mediterranean's got no tide. It's got like a foot of tide movement. Here you might have 6 meters. So on big tides, it is potentially dangerous. Also, it's a lot colder. So there's wetsuit to take into account. If you're just starting off, just go snorkeling. Just float around on the surface. You won't come into hardly any trouble there. And then as you progress in your confidence, then try diving. If you want to do that, you can contact myself, or one of the places where I find the most information, and this isn't a plug, is spearfishing.co.uk. There's 2 confusions there between free diving and the spearfishing. The spearfishing, they won't go as deep as free divers because there's no need to. Most of the spearfishing gets done in 10 to 15 meters of water. I will never be going any deeper than that. So most of their safety courses, most of the things that they have are gauged around the type of snorkeling and diving that I do, and that I think that my viewers will be interested in. Wetsuits, weight belts, snorkels, masks, all that type of stuff. They know what's on the market. I would speak to them. I can tell you what I've got and how I use it, but I can only tell you what I've got. Take it at your own pace. Don't push yourself. Be aware of the safety. There are areas where there are riptides down here. We've already lost 2 people this summer drowning off the lizard. So you need to be really careful. To try and change it into a little bit more of an upbeat, Kyle and his dad Paul have been asking me for a while about slow jigs. Now, there is a video coming up this weekend with slow jigs in it, so I won't give too much away. But the types of slow jigs you can get, there's different ones. There's front sink, centre weighted, tail weighted. I'd use all sorts. The ones that are absolutely nailing it for me at the moment are the sidewinder ones. And I think there's Thor, Odin and Loki. Sound pretty cool, don't they? They absolutely nail it. When the video comes out, you'll see more. But I use them, shallow water, I use 40, 60, 80 to 100 gram. In deeper water, I use 160 gram to 200 gram. Are you chortling away there in the corner?
You're going to hate some of these questions.
All right. You're supposed to be filtering out the ones I don't want to answer.
No, it's nothing like that. It's just you're going to be like, yeah.
Terry Edwards has asked, and a lot of people have asked, what is your next target fish after the punk rocker? What is your next target fish? What's your next elusive fish to target? All around the same type of thing. I honestly do not know. I'm open to suggestions. I would love to catch a thresher shark. After seeing it the other day, it really ignited a fire in me. Here in good lads.
Good boy.
Little man's just stood there finishing some sausages. Thresher sharks generally bypass us around here where we are in the lizard. They bypass us going to the Isle of Wight, and we see them again when they're coming back. They're just coming back past now. I had hoped to go back out and try and find one, but this bad weather's kicked up and I don't know if we're going to get a chance to this year, but that would be a lovely target. I have some personal targets of like specimen weights or PBs that I want to try and get. As for that, I honestly do not know. I love them all, even the dogfish. Ben Orton, how long will blue sharks be around for? They are on their way out now. It all depends on the conditions and the water temperature. If we had a really mild autumn, they would still be here in good numbers now. We're still doing the odd sharking charter now, but there aren't as many as there was a month ago. You can go, if you get off on a charter now, there is still every chance of catching one, but there is less of a chance than there was last month. Again, it's to do with the water temperature and to do with ever so many other factors to do with it. This bad weather that we've just had might have really upset things. I don't know because I haven't had a chance to get out for it yet. How do you go about finding fishing marks? I've covered this in quite a few other things before. I spend an awful lot of time on Navionics and on my plotter on my boat, or searching through wreck sites, and I would say go with your fish species. Once you know what your fish species is, you need to look at the fundamentals, and the fundamentals to find any fish will be what it feeds on and where it likes to live. So you need to find an area that holds the food source, and then you need to find an area where it would like to live. Like if you want to find a flatfish, you wouldn't go looking at middle of rocks, would you? Or if you are looking for, say, a conger eel, you're not going to go and look on a clean sandy beach. You need to, once I've got my criteria of what I want to find, then I will go and I will look for that specific criteria. Yeah, legwork. Sometimes you get given a gem of a mark. Someone will recommend, what is it? You've got another one, haven't you?
No, I think people like it when they post a fish if you message them and ask where they caught it, don't they? Isn't that how you find out?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, you see when someone's caught a really good fish and you say, oh, where did you catch that? What did you use for bait? What rig was it? No, we're joking. Yeah, I spend a lot of time researching things, and half the time it comes to now, it's a complete dud. But sometimes you do find an absolute blinder. Like I will look, and there's 4 or 5 wrecks that I still want to check out within 30 miles of where I live. And occasionally, if I go sharking and I can take a detour. Rich, thank you very much. Rich Kinter is the gent that bought the V-notching clippers that we have on board the boat. James, you can have your cake in a minute. Just wait. Hannah has baked a delicious chocolate cake that James is dying to get involved in. Yeah, Rich made a donation to the channel and he purchased the V-notching clippers that we use on our boat. So thank you very much, Rich, and thank you again. Yeah, there's a few wrecks I want to see, and if I'm steaming back from sharking and I can take like a 1 mile detour just to recce it out, then I will do. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. A lot of my wrecks that I've found, I'm in good close contact with a lot of other anglers, and they'll say, oh yeah, I fished there, but it's full of fishing gear, or oh yeah, I fished there and it's not there anymore, because some wrecks have been covered up by the sand. There is a community amongst small boat owners. Once you get into a good group, you do share information like that. I have two more that I'll go through, and then I'll get to Summer Hannah's. One of them is Sienna, who's 4-year-old, watches with her dad. Five. Am I in trouble now as well?
Yeah.
Her dad contacted me and said the wrong age, and now he's in trouble. So apparently I am too. How many lobsters have you caught this year? Total number, including undersized ones, I have absolutely no idea. I would say probably in excess of 150, maybe 200. Yeah. The number of lobsters that we've taken home to eat, including ones that I've snaffled on shore, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. But the number that I have V-notched myself this year is 38. Last year was 32, so I'm glad I'm up on that. I was hoping to get to 40. We will see. One of the good things about that, one of the fantastic things about that, is people who follow the channel and now know what V-notching is, they've decided to start doing it themselves, and occasionally I get sent a photo of someone saying, oh yeah, we found this one and I V-notched it, so that's amazing. Conservation is everyone's responsibility, as I keep hearing. And I did get a suggestion. It wasn't a question, because the guy who asked it, the guy who suggested it, knows more, has probably forgotten more than I'll ever know, and it's Al Browners. Now, he's a phenomenal shore angler. He doesn't fare too well on boats, so I think I've maybe got the edge on him there, but he has said, one of the questions that he gets asked a lot, I do also, is there are that many types of hooks around. How do you choose, and how do you match it to your fishing? And that counts for like the pattern, the size. I would say that the answer that I always give is the same as when I said when you're finding a mark for a fish, look at the fish's mouth, the fish that you're trying to target. If it's a fish that takes a bait, like a predator fish, like a shark or a taupe or a bass or a pollock, you can possibly even use a circle hook, because it's the way it takes it. If you're fishing for things like conger that just come up and mouth the bait and don't run anywhere, Cornish Benji, thank you very much. If you're going fishing for things like conger that just take a bait gently, a circle hook won't work, because you need the fish to turn the hook in its mouth. I will say for size, you miss. Oscar, I understand. You fit the size of the hook to the size of the bait. If you're going to be using a whole mackerel, you won't be using one O's, because you need to keep a hook point that's proud. So you need to be using a hook with a big enough gape that it leaves some of the point proud out of the bait to hook up into the fish's mouth. Because it doesn't matter getting the hook in its mouth, if the hook's all hidden in the bait, it won't hook up. For things like live baits, I like something with a wide gape, like a chinook or like a circle hook, because it leaves plenty of bend showing with the hook and the point. Fishing Tom, thank you very much, mate. You asked a couple of fantastic questions the other day, well on you. And left a great comment on the John Dory video, brilliant, thank you. The hooks for flatfish, look at their tiny little mouths. You're not going to fit a wide gaped hook in a little mouth, so like a long shanked Aberdeen hook. Look at what you're targeting. There are some really good guides, and I'm working on them with a company at the moment, and all we're going to try and do is produce like an A4 where it's just as every single type of hook pattern, so you can compare them all and say like Sea Beast, good for cod, conger, skate, and then you look and it'll be Mick Adams, thank you. Oh, this is fantastic. Fishing for things like match fishing, just scratching, and it'll be like specimen extras, or it'll be Lewis. Thank you. No, thank you. I can't keep up with this. The hooks, yes. If you're fishing for something that's really strong, that's going to put serious pressure on the bend of the hook, because I don't know if people, I've only really learnt more about this as I've been speaking to. There's a guy called Mark Hamnett, and he knows everything about hooks. He gets really into it, and he loves being able to talk to it about somebody. The way that a hook is made, so like some of them have just got a straight bend, and some of them slightly an offset bend, and some have got a long one. They're all made in a certain way. Even the ones like the pennel hooks with the offset eyes, they have different strengths at different parts. So sometimes if you've got a hook that's straining out, it's because you're using the wrong style of hook for that fishing. yeah, we're going to try and create a chart so it's easily comparable. So you could literally be like, right, fishing for bream, yeah, that hook and that hook. Or I'm fishing for conger. Like a strong one, like I was saying, it needs a heavy gauge because you're putting a lot of pressure on the bend. If you've got a light gauge, or even if you've got like a hard steel, that can snap. Whereas sometimes you need a little bit of a bending hook. So it's a subject that I could talk about forever, but I won't. Have we got any questions, darling?
Here's your first plate. Someone's just asked if we've got any more open dialogue about a puppy. Oh, I thought of a name.
Yeah, that serves you right for talking about that puppy. We aren't getting a dog. Cornish Benji, right.
It's going to be called
that
Teddy
question
Kruger.
there. So glad. Right, mate. It's my pleasure to share Cornwall with everyone around the globe, especially during these difficult times. I mean, I will make mention to that before I start going into these questions. I have been contacted a lot. When I say a lot, I mean I'm getting at least 4 or 5 a day consistently, probably over the last 6 months, and there are a lot of different people all over the world. Everyone is in this together. I'm not going to mention any more about the whole COVID lark because we all know what's going on. We are all in this together. I understand that some people you're feeling isolated and you're feeling alone and you're feeling like it's like a dark cloud. We are all in this. We will all come out of it the other side if we can all work together. John Richards, thank you very much, and Perch Rock Fishing. If all this hadn't have happened, I would have been coming up to see you, mate. I'd planned a trip on the Mersey. But yeah, send me a message after that and I'll have a crack about it. There have been an awful lot of people that have been saying that the little bit of fresh air that they get from our videos, it really helps. Now, that for me, that's exactly why we're doing it. Declan, amazing mate. And Declan, a lad from Ireland, I speak to you quite a lot. The things like the coastal exploring. I don't know if you've known, but before we were working at 1 video a week. Over the past 4 or 5 months, we've really tried to step it up a lot, and we've been trying to get as many of them out as possible. It's often means that me and my wife are like ships crossing in the night, in that I'm just coming in and she's just heading out. And yeah, there's sometimes when I'll be out filming till 4 o'clock in the morning and I'll be out filming again the next day. We're doing our absolute best because I feel that if we are able to share even a small positive distraction with people to improve the morale throughout the day, then it's almost our responsibility. And the same way we're responding to comments. If any of you people watching here are on any of my posts or on the Facebook page and you see anyone commenting and you have got an answer for them, you can answer the question for them, or you can give them some interaction or some talking. I'm sorry, but is it Noelani? I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that name. Can you please remember that question and I will answer that as soon as I've finished what I'm saying.
It's good.
Jill, just scroll, look. Anna, there.
It's like I've got it.
If you can answer any of the questions, please engage each other, because you don't know what other people are going through. That little bit of interaction, that might be the turning point in that person's day. That might be the thing that cheers them up and that makes their day better. I do my very best, but to be honest, the overwhelming volume of comments and things like that I deal with every day, I miss some, and I'm sorry, I just can't get to them all. I mean, what was it like the other night? I was up until midnight doing comments on a video, and then we've got our own light and we've got the kids at school and everything like that.
You speak to people on YouTube more than me most of the time.
Right.
I might have to start paying for super stickers.
Nolani, why not oysters? Why not go after them for the pearls? Right. This is one of those things. The oysters and the clams in our area are not considered pearl-bearing oysters. Yeah, you better do.
Get his cake.
Bring a piece of it in here to show everybody.
Oh, no, it's not very good, John. Yeah.
She's a fantastic cook, but she cannot bake. Callum, thank you very much, mate. Yeah. She's got ears like a bat. The oysters and the clams in our area are not really pearl-bearing. I dug into this, and I was speaking to a local botanist and a local marine biologist, and they said something like 1 in 1,200 oysters round here will have a pearl in, and most of them will be that small that you could swallow it without realising. Now, you might find one, you might be that lucky freak who finds that one that's like the size of a pound coin, and it's amazing, but I don't eat oysters. I don't even kill the invasive species ones because I don't know if you just saw James walk past there. Yeah. I don't even kill the invasive ones. Now, technically you're supposed to because they're an invasive species, and there are teams of guys that go around with hammers smashing them off the waterline. But my personal feelings are that if we're not going to eat it or we're not going to be using it for a purpose, I don't think it's a good enough justification to kill something just because it's alive. So yeah, that's the answer why we don't go looking for pearls, and also the answer why we don't collect the invasive oysters. Paul Bit, oh, hello.
Dad,
What?
my cake is so tasty.
Your cake is so tasty. Did your mum tell you to say that?
No! James, come here.
You want to come and say hello to everyone?
Show everybody. James has got his first ever school photo next week, haven't you? Show everyone. He's been practicing his photo face. Show everyone your photo face.
Isn't that just a heartbreaker? Ah, you're the best. You want to go and finish your cake? Good lad. Yeah, he's been practicing that face. Paul Baker, big bass story again. Someone else asked. Do you want me to give you the... I'll tell you what, I'll give you the condensed version. I may or may not have been on duty on a gangway in a military base while I should have been working, and I was fishing. And yeah, I was fishing with two rods, fishing with like a big bait rod and a little bait rod, and I was just fishing for everything. I'd caught a little. I'd found like an ambush point underneath one of the jetties there. I don't know if you know Portsmouth, but there's been an awful lot of marine history there, and there's tunnels that have been filled in and some that have caved in. I found an ambush point, and I thought that old bass that when tide comes in, they'll hang in there out of the tide, and when anything swims past, they'll have it. So what I did was I rigged a frozen sand eel on like a boom, so it's swimming in the water like a sidewinder, and I positioned it right outside the ambush point, and I had like a 4-pound bass instantly, like as soon as it hit the water. And I thought, oh, that was amazing. Thought that was going to be the best fish of the session. And then at the same time, I was fishing freelining just a little bit of ragworm to try and catch a pouting to be able to use as a live bait. David in Bangalore in India, the best thing I could say is send me a private message on the FishLocker Facebook page and I will speak to you personally. This bass, I'd got a 4-pounder and I thought, oh, that's amazing, I'm not going to get another one of them. I was happy. So I was freelining a little piece of ragworm to try and catch a pouting to use as a live bait or a whiting or anything small. I've used blennies before. So I hooked into like a 2-pound bass and I was playing it on my spinning rod. So all I did was I just backed the drag off my big rod and tied it to the railings and was busy away playing this fish. And then when I turned around, I was about 50 yards away. The rod was coming out. The railings were shaking and all sorts. I was like, oh no! So I quickly bounced this little fish in, ran over and got the rod, just tightened the drag down and lifted into it, and the rod just nearly snapped. It was a cheap, like, it was one of the old Shakespeare salts. I bought it and a reel and a load of tackle for like 25 quid cash off a tackle shop that was shutting down. Anyway, rod just bent right over, and I had now but like a heavy nodding fight, and I thought, oh, nice one, I've caught a ray. This is brilliant. And as I was bringing it up, I don't know if you know the water in Portsmouth Harbour, but it's like green soup. And I could just see like a dark shape coming up, and I thought, oh, it's a ray with a load of seaweed. And it wasn't, it was some seaweed attached to the boom. And then when it come up, I just saw this silver shape
Did you see
getting
that
bigger.
one?
I did, yes.
Sorry, I thought it was you.
No, thank you. I saw this silver shape getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and when it come to the surface, its tail was like that big. Well, it measured 98 centimetres, and it was all girth. When it comes sideways up like that, it gave one big sideways broadside of its tail and was just off, and I just had to kind of hang on to it. Yeah. And then when I got it to the bottom of the wall, I was 14 foot from the water, so I was thinking, how am I going to land this? So I had to walk it like 300 yards and climb over a razor wire fence up to some steps, and then pulled it up some steps. I put my rod down to run down steps to go and get it. And anyway, when I put rod down, fish swam off again and pulled my rod into the water, and I had to wade into the water and get my rod back and play it. Anyway, I just ended up like bear rubbing it, bringing it back into the side. And yeah, the rest is history. I didn't at the time. I didn't have any scales on me, and I didn't. More thinking needed. Thank you very much. I didn't have any scales on me, so I didn't know how much it weighed. I didn't even know what the record was. I didn't know there was a record. All I was there was a mate of mine who's got a tackle shop, and I know that a lot of competitions go there for the weigh-ins, so he had some good scales. So I phoned him up. It's Lock, Stock and Tackle down in Southsea, have you seen this, darling? I phoned him up and I says, oh no, mate, it's John. I said, I've got a bass. Can I come and wait at your shop? And he was like, oh yeah, of course you can, mate. How much does it weigh? And I went, about £20. And he went, yeah, sure it does. And I said, so I kind of like, oh, fair enough. I've got something to cover my duty. And I put it in 2 bin liners. It was that big that it wouldn't fit in one. I had to put one on top and one on bottom. And put it back at car and drove around there. Now, when I got to the shop, there was like 4 or 5 people in the shop. And when I went to the boat, popped the boat up and I gilled it out. I went like that, got it up to about here and it was still in car. Everyone was going, oh, Jesus, look at that. Carried it over the road with tail dragging up the floor. And they were like, that is monstrous. And I was like, well, I told you it was like £20. Put it on scales on his bench. It weighs bait with. And they go to like £16. And he just bottomed them out. And he went, that's massive, that. Pulled a set of scales off the wall like that, opened the packet up and weighed them, and it went £21. He was like, that's a British record. I was like, all right. Amazing. And then we had to go to the local fish market and weighed it on their market scales. And then, yeah, after that, it all just kind of snowballed. Knowing what I know now, Christopher Harrison, thank you very much, mate. All the best. Knowing what I know now, I wouldn't have gone straight to tackle shop. I would have gone to the fish market where they have live tanks. It would the nearest place where I would have had a live tank, like their scallop tanks or their lobster tanks or something like that, somewhere where I could have put it in some water to keep it alive. That's what I would have done. At the time, I mean, that was back in 2012. That was 10 years ago nearly. Mindsets have changed since then. My mindset has changed since then. There's a lot more awareness and understanding about breeding cycles and things like that. That would have been a brilliant breeding fish. But at the time, minds were different. I mean, go back 20 years and they were killing sharks and hanging them up on the pier just to have the photos taken. Yeah, that was what happened. In the end, I ended up donating it. I sent the fish to market anonymously, and I donated the money, and the money that Sea Angler gave me, and a couple of other tackle sponsors said, all right, we'll give you this. And I was like, well, just put it towards this. And I went with a big check and I took it to Tedworth House, which is like a subsection of Help for Heroes. And all they do is they use fishing as a platform to help guys who've come back from away and they've got issues. They're not right in themselves. They're not the people that they should be. They use fishing as a platform to help them come back. So I just took them this check and I was like, look, buy yourselves some fishing gear and take your lads on some fishing trips. I hope it can help. And yeah, it's amazing. One of the guys actually that was on one of the trips still speaks to me now. He found me through the FishLocker and just says, yeah, I went on a trip that was from your bass. And I was like, that was amazing. So that was a bit of a long-winded story. Sorry about that. What paint can you use on shells? I'm not entirely sure what they mean. What are you going to use the shells for? Are you just painting them for your own decoration? Are they going on the outside of your house? I would say you could use any type of paint you want and then cover them in a lacquer or cover them in a clear varnish. None of the paints that you use will damage the shells, I don't think, because, well, they're hard calcium. Pro Bro, any cod fishing coming up? We don't really get a cod run down here in Cornwall. We get like one cod gets caught on low bar and that's it. Jungle drums go out in the places like Blackpool Illuminations. They love it down here. I'm from an area where that was most of what we used to catch was codlings. So it's not something that's very high on my list of things to do. Now we will, and I have actually been speaking to a guy called CJ Sea Fishing. I'm going to possibly go down to him and we're going to go do some cod fishing. Or I might even go and see one of my mates. One of my friends actually, Jason Gillespie, if he's watching this or if he watches this back, he's the guy who caught the albino trope. He's one of my good friends. We fish and we talk quite often. I am potentially going to go down and see him down in the Solent and we will go and do some cod fishing down there. Yeah, so there will be. Ahmed, what was your trade in the Navy? I was chief tea maker. No, I wasn't. I was an aeronautical engineer. I was an engineer on the Harrier fighter jets. And then when they went out of commission, I just spent as much time as I could avoiding responsibility. Johnny Jenkins, do you ever worry about a dolphin will take your bait? Right, a couple of people have asked this because we do get quite a lot of dolphins around the boats. Are you ever worried that a dolphin will take your bait? Sean Douglas, thank you very much, mate. Do you ever worry a dolphin will take your bait? Personally, honestly, no. Dolphins are too smart. They are one of the smartest creatures on the planet. Dolphins are smarter than quite a lot of the fishermen that I've encountered in my time. Dolphins will never get a hook stuck in them. And yet, how many anglers do you see get hook stuck in them? Milton, send you some lobsters. How would you like them sent, mate? Yeah, dolphins are too smart. Seals, you'll get them taking baits. Sharks, they'll take fish off your hooks. They're not as smart as a dolphin. Dolphins are too cute for that. Right, do we plan on doing more stuff with Haze Outdoors? Yes. Yeah, me and Paul, we talk quite often on WhatsApp and that. Mainly just a bit of Northern crack. But we do plan at some point at doing another collaboration. Alan Horworth and Mike Hyde. Do we plan on doing more Haze Outdoor bushcrafty style stuff?
Yeah. Are we gonna go down the bushcraft stuff?
Oh, right.
That's what they meant.
Mike Hyde, thank you very much, mate, and Alan Horworth. That's amazing. Bushcrafty stuff. The videos you will see, they cover a lot of what we do. Everything, every start of it, from all the way from going on the beach, the boat, the house, the garage, even a bit of like the vlogging style like this. The reason why we haven't done many more outside camping in the woods and things like that is purely because for the past 2 years we haven't really been able to go out anywhere with James. Like, we haven't been able to go away from the house too far because we needed to get him to the hospital if he ever got poorly. Now that we have got the opportunity, we are going to be doing a lot more of the camping. That's just because we're... Oh, hang about. Largest bass caught on a shore is 22 pounds from Somerset. No, it's not, mate. You're talking to the wrong person when you're coming out with things like that. No, it's not, mate. Yeah, we will be doing more camping and things like that, just because the videos, they are everything, that's every part of it. I maybe won't go full bushcraft, like growing a full beard and whittling spoons, but yeah, we'll be doing a little bit more of it. What's the biggest cod you've ever caught in Cornwall? They get some huge cod in the northeast. Yes, Martin. Well, leads on to the last question I was talking about with the codlings. Biggest cod I've ever caught down here was probably about... I've caught a 10 pounder on the boat, and I've caught best one from shore is probably £4, but that's a big one down here for the shore. There's a couple of guys down here that have had some monsters from the shore, but they really are few and far between. Do we have a Coast Guard like America? Yeah, the UK does have a Coast Guard. They have, they have Coast Guards, and they have the Navy. We also have the RNLI that works kind of in conjunction with the Coast Guard. I'm not exactly sure now that I'm thinking about it, because the Coast Guard is government and the RNLI is voluntary. It relies on donations. yeah, all right. This is going to start a jolly one. Largest bass was £28 14 ounce caught in Birmingham. All right, mate. If you haven't got a photo, it didn't happen. Krishna John, what's your favourite food? Ooh, favourite food altogether? I don't know, what do I eat the most? Steak? Burgers?
Probably.
I love my protein.
I don't know. You like a roast though, don't you?
Yeah, I would probably, yeah, my best meal has got to be Hannah's Sunday roast with pork and crackling. She buys like a joint of meat to feed 6 people just so we get extra crackling.
So you get extra crackling.
That's what I said.
You said we.
Richard, do you do fishing for a living? No, not really. I have done in the past. I have been a commercial fisherman in the past, and I have also been a fisheries officer in the past. Right now, I consider myself as just being a passionate amateur. In order to do it for a living, I guess I would have to be a commercial fisherman. I haven't got a commercial license. I don't, and I can't sell any of the catch that we catch. Any of the lobsters, any of the crabs, any of the fish. It either gets donated to like family members or we eat it ourselves. I have considered getting a boat coded. What's that? Hannah, does John snore when you're camping? I aren't the snorer in the family. I have considered getting the boat coded, which would mean I could take paying customers. But to be honest, the initial outlay to get the boat coded, all the safety stuff, and then all of the safety courses that I would have to do, and I'd only be able to take 2 people. Can you just keep an eye on that one, please? In order to be able to take 2 people, I would have to charge you 250 quid each just to be able to cover my nut. Now, although there would be some people that would be willing to pay for that, not everybody could pay for that. So all we're going to continue to do at this moment in time is we are going to be able to take FishLocker charters on a charter boat, because that way you can book the boat and you can bring 8 of your mates or 8 other people. Not during COVID, because there's only 6 allowed. But you could bring a gang of people, and then you just get me on there to guide you. So it's the other guy's coding, the other guy's boat, it's the skipper, and all I'll do is liaise with him. That's all we've been doing. We've had 5 or 6 of those trips, and they've been absolutely amazing. Reese Thomas, thank you very much. Right, that's that one done. God, I'm talking so much. What was that one that we just missed there?
Oh, I've written it down.
Phil Smith has learnt so much from your presentation. It's like having a best mate who's an expert. To be honest, I would love a best mate who's an expert. I definitely don't consider myself as being one. I just love sharing our passion, sharing our knowledge and sharing our passion. I would say that the best knowledge is knowledge that you can share. It brings great pleasure to me. Everything that we do, anything nature, outdoors, that type of stuff, has brought me so much joy throughout my life. Why wouldn't I want other people to be able to enjoy that as well? Yeah. And as for the presentation style, it was a really difficult thing for me when I was first starting out. Is fishing with Anto. Thank you very much, mate. When I first started out, it was a really difficult thing to be able to talk to the camera. And you might notice in some of the videos, I still don't look straight at it, because I guess it's just an unusual feeling for me to be able to talk to myself. I just pretended that I was with one of my good mates, and they just hadn't done what I was doing before. So I thought, I'll just explain it. I'll just explain how I would do what I was doing. Like if I was taking one of my mates from Navy that I knew from before, and they'd say, "Oh, John, I've never been fishing before. Do you mind showing me this?" So I'd just show them how to tie a knot, and I'd show them how to do this. So I'd just talk it through it like that. That's all I do. That's all I have been doing. I'm really glad that you enjoy this presentation style. I didn't even think of it like that. How full should your spool be when loading with braid? Yeah, don't overfill with braid, because you will get something called wind knots. What you need to make sure that you do is that you load it under tension. You will maybe find that if you load a spool up just like normal, really on, you might get 100 yards. Load it under tension, you'll get 150 yards. And not only that, if you don't load it under tension, if you do hook into a decent sized fish and it pulls tight, it beds into the rest of the braid and it can snap you off. That's what happens. A lot of people have that trouble when they hook into like a big shark and the line on their spool on their multiplier isn't tight. Because all that'll happen is it'll run for maybe 20, 30 yards. Oh yeah, Troy, how is you back? I meant to mention you about, I was watching your videos the other day. I'll message you after that as well, and with Mark. Yeah, the centre of the spool isn't tight enough. Tristan Thomas, thank you very much. So what happens is it bites down into the spool and it can't pull line off, and then it parts. So what I would recommend doing, in fact, yeah, I've got a video on the FishLocker Workshop channel. There is a video showing how I load the braid onto my carbo. And all I do is I put the spool in a bucket of water and I wind it on once, and then I run it off when I'm in the boat. Baron Silas Greenback, it is our pleasure. Thank you. Right, can you catch that one? Otherwise, I'm never going to finish this question. I load it on in a bucket of water so it beds down with water, and then when I go off on the boat for the first time, I tie a rag to the end of a swivel and I run it off the back of the boat and steam away. So I've run out all 350 yards of line, and then I wind it in as hard as I can and as fast as I can, and it beds it onto the reel. You leave enough of a gap to be able to fit your leader on. I know I can't tell you exactly how much to put on there. You'll just have to go it by gauge. It doesn't, when you look at it sideways up like that, you don't want the line to be bulging out at the top of the spool. You want to be, if it comes up, just have a lip of your spool on the outside. Is there somewhere in Falmouth you can launch a small boat, OGS World? There are 3 or 4 places. If you send me a private message to the FishLocker Workshop channel, to the FishLocker Facebook page, I will send you locations for all of those. Some you have to pay for, some you don't. What's your favourite fish and shellfish to eat? Favourite fish, other than my new favourite, which is the John Dory. It was absolutely, wasn't it delicious?
So good.
I love haddock, smoked poached haddock, and shellfish, lobster. Got to be lobster. Where are we? James Koch. I hope I'm saying that right. Koch. Love your broadcast with Hayes, but the scenery is better today. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, I think Hayes has actually got longer hair. I know he hasn't, he's just cut his hair. The King Ferreter moved to Whitby about 5 years ago. Fishes Saltick and East Pier. Caught some good cod, but any other spots would be good. To be honest, mate, it's been 15 years since I fished out Whitby. So the marks I used to fish, them marks of cliff probably aren't even there anymore. John, you have a private contact page or email. The easiest way to get in touch with me is send a private message to the FishLocker Facebook page. I aren't going to go around sending out emails because it'll go into spam folders and all that sort of stuff. And Liz P, thank you very much. Just send us a private message to the FishLocker Facebook page and then I'll get to it.
That was the super sticker one.
Right. I'm going to say Bostado. Yeah, we'll go with that. Great to see a British bloke on the fishing YouTube game rather than just US and Australian. Have you thought about getting a camera mount to the side of your boat to film better landing? Yeah, I have. I've considered, William Collett, amazing mate, thank you very much. I have considered some other camera positions, but the only problem being is my boat, it's a little V-hull, little fiberglass, it weighs now, it rolls a lot like that. And at the moment, buying gimbals for things, also you can't put a gimbal, you can't put the cameras that I use with the external microphones in a gimbal because it only goes so far and then it knocks against the gimbal. Stu, thank you very much, mate. That's amazing. Thank you. Cameras on the boat. Yeah, until we get to the point where we've got a big enough boat that I can have someone else with me to do the dedicated filming, unfortunately, I don't have the space. And a few of the sharking videos, I've used 3 different cameras. I've either used a chest mount, a wrist mount, one on the side of the boat and one on there, and being able to organise all 3 cameras. Andy, in fact, actually, James is begging us for, what is it? Go and grab him.
Oh,
James! Come here a minute, please. Yeah, as soon as we get a big enough boat, then I will get more camera angles. At the moment, we're just working with GoPros. But yeah, I am looking at it. You were telling me today, because you've been so good at school with all that chocolate cake around your mouth, what dinosaur is it that you want?
A Jurassic World set.
A Jurassic World set. Have you been enjoying that cake?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it. A Jurassic World set that has, what does it have? An Indoraptor, an Indominus Rex.
A Dominus Rex and an Ankylosaurus.
A Dominus Rex and an Ankylosaurus. Right, mate, well, that money will go to that. There you go, see?
Someone's just sent some money.
We're going to go down and we're going to get you that from Toy Shop tomorrow.
Small toy shop.
Yeah, the small one.
What?
Right. As far as saying that it's good to see a British bloke against the US and Australians, I guess that a lot of people say that we have a very different style. Other than the John Dory video, I was usually quite calm and collected. There's no hooping and hollering and yelling and yeehawing and high-fiving. I am sorry.
You don't get excited about anything though, do you? Like nothing.
I don't know. Occasionally. I found a 5-inch treat one day and I was pretty happy with it. What? Yeah, we don't. But saying that at the same line, someone collared me the other day and was like, "Oh, John, you're so uncharismatic. You need to show more emotion." And I was like, "I'm going to spit on my kids, why don't you?" No, I blocked him. Yeah, one of the things as well is it's quite difficult to compare the fishing that we get here in the UK to likes of Australia or the US, where you can go for like Goliath grouper or hammerheads.
Oh, I think I'd be
marlin.
yahooing then.
If I caught like a 60-pound wahoo, then I would be hooping and hollering. And if I was fishing for like black marlin or something like that, then yeah, I imagine that I would probably get a little bit more excited than what I do about fishing for dabs. Although I love catching dabs. Danger Mouse, right? Amazing. Oh, Jesus, I won't let him see that. He's going to end up with half of that toy shop.
You haven't seen how much it costs yet.
What? James told me it was £4. All right. We're going to need a couple more donations. Yeah, James.
Get singing.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'll see if they want to do a collaboration and we'll see if we can get a discount to that toy shop. Kendra, oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Kendra's just put $4.99 towards it.
Oh,
Is pier or harbour fishing seasonal? No. Species might be seasonal, but your pier or your harbour fishing isn't. Often, when it's really bad weather in the middle of the winter, the only fishing you can get is in sheltered harbours or piers. You will catch different species, like for instance, down here, we're different. What's your solution to stopping wind noise on GoPros? External microphones with a windsock. Send me a private message, mate, and I will. I'll send you a picture. Piers and harvest. Yeah, if you're fishing off a pier in the summer, you'll catch mackerel in most places. Down here in Cornwall, you can catch mackerel a lot of the year, but we're freaks down here. Yeah. Sometimes the best fishing can be found on a harbour wall, because people from the shore will cast 100 yards out to get to where you're already at, just on the side of the pier. Have you ever caught a megrim? Yeah, I have. I've caught hundreds of them in a trawl net. I've never caught one on run line. I've lost one on surface, but I've got like a real thin mouth. Yeah, that could be a target. That would be quite a difficult one to cast. Yeah, megrim. That might make the shortlist. Ian Miller, is Mrs. FishLocker a swimwear or fitness model? Would you consider yourself to be swimwear or fitness?
Right now.
Yeah.
After the fish and chips I've just eaten.
This isn't one of those cases like where a lass will pay for a photo shoot and she'll call herself an Instagram model. Hannah actually is a competitive fitness. Well, what would you say? What are those shows?
Fitness model shows.
Yeah. Competitive fitness model. Rogue Pest, thank you very much, mate. I'll put that towards James's indoor raptor set. Yeah, anybody who's questioning it or who wants to know, have a look at Hannah's Instagram page, which is @LockerHannah. I think that'll show you everything you need to know, and possibly a little bit more. Colin Cox, what is your full-time job and what do I do for fun?
Hello.
This is what we do for fun.
Oh, Simon.
Yeah. Love the John Dory fish. It was awesome fish. We're about to make a skip and a move to St Ives. We're a touring caravan. We use it. All right. Awesome. Brilliant, mate. Thank you very much for the donation. And I hope you enjoy it down here. My full-time job, I don't really have a full-time job. And we've covered this in one or two of the other lives. And that was because of the situation that we found ourselves in when James fell poorly. We realised that we had been possibly quite naive thinking in our lives up to that point, that you would be all right with all your eggs in one basket, that you would have one job for life, as a lot of people have started learning.
See that one?
Shaolin Tiger, no, I didn't say that one. Thank you very much. Is that all right? Shaolin Tiger?
What?
I don't know what currency that is. ZAR.
What is that?
He, I don't know. He has commented on a couple of the YouTube videos. People have learned after this lockdown here that who were relying on their one job and they've lost it. This is where you need to diversify. You need to have a couple of fingers in different pies. Like we have the YouTube stuff, and we have like an online, what would you say, health and wellness beauty. Some of the stuff that you can see up around here. We're actually in Hannah's office now. Hannah leads a team of individuals from all over the world, actually. Yeah, she's got a couple in the States now. And we've got
a badass fisher lady in Canada. I'm super excited for when we can go out there.
In fact, actually, rather than taking time up here to explain all the nitty-gritty of that, if anybody's interested in anything like that, or that you possibly think that you might need that type of security net, then just send us a private message. Paulie Lobster, thank you very much. That's exactly how I dance. What?
James, timing.
Yeah. And what do we do for fun? Well, to be honest, we are quite sad, aren't we? Yeah, we just, at the moment, we don't have an awful lot of free time.
Well, we can't really do a lot. Like, obviously, when James was poorly, we couldn't do fun things because we weren't allowed to go anywhere. And now that
we're all in lockdown,
James-wise, we could go wherever we wanted. We aren't allowed to. Like, we want to do, like, a couple of random vlogs around the UK. Like, maybe even jokey ones. But obviously, we can't go to the places that we want to go to. We love travelling. We like exploring different places. After John finished his tour in Afghanistan, we went to Mexico, and we went on an all-inclusive because that's what you do. But I think we only spent one day by the pool, and the rest of the time we went out fishing. Yeah. We went into
we are the
the
type
local
of people
town.
When we go on holiday, we don't go on holiday and sit by a pool.
We'll do a day.
Yeah,
yeah, we're very active. It's
and we'd love learning new things as well. So like going to new places and seeing new things. Yeah, we aren't the type of people that would go and like, I'm going to use it as Jace Hargreaves, no problem at all, mate. I will try my very best to get to everybody, but unfortunately, like I said, the amount of interaction is just too much for me to be able to handle all the time. Which is, like I said, if somebody asks a question and you can answer it, you know that your answer is going to be correct. Please jump in on it and help me out. That type of interaction is fantastic. Thank you. Yeah.
Hang on, can you just, sorry, I think,
Right.
Where is it? I did
Travelling wise, we love travelling. We just don't get to do as much of it as we
Can
want
you
to.
read this one out next, just because they've asked again?
Yeah. Beach predator and fishing antics. Please, more videos aimed at first-time boat buyers. Right. I have a few videos that are on the FishLocker workshop channel, and I also have some that are on the FishLocker. They are aimed at first-time boat buyers. I was going to say the way that, trying to say it without spoiling it. Potsy, amazing, mate. Thank you very much. Thanks for that, Potsy. I am hoping to buy a new boat at some point, and Jim, thank you. I would just let me.
ZAR is South African rand.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah, I'm hoping to buy a new boat at some point in time, in which point in time I will be able to go through every single part of it with a video to say, well, this is what I looked for and this is why I was doing this, but I can't say too much about it without spoiling it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
We will do more. If you have anything specific that you want to know about, I've already done ones on anchoring, I've done ones on small boat safety, I've done ones on like how to start an engine, how to change a steering cord. If you have any questions like that, if I don't know, I might know someone who does, so I'll be able to put you in contact with them, at least until the videos get made. BBR, I'm not entirely sure if donations can be over that amount, but what we have is we do have a Patreon, because people asked if they could donate amounts. The Patreon is, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but you'll be able to find it in the description of a lot of the videos, and it's just go on Patreon and search for the FishLocker if you wanted to become like a regular contributor to the channel. Can you do me a favour? Can you try and find the Patreon so that I can tell them what it is? No, I'm asking the wrong person. Never mind. If anybody wants to know what the Patreon is, send me a private message after this, and I will send it to you. Someone donated £20 a minute ago. I think you missed it by accident. That I missed it by accident. Right, who was that?
Oh, was it this one?
John Burns. I like a few of the fishing channels. Everyone offers something different, but for those wanting to learn new skills or just improve their knowledge, I don't think yours can be beaten. Keep it up, mate. Thank you, John. That's really kind. Yeah. As I've kept saying through all of this, we're just sharing what we know and what we love doing. You don't need to know an awful lot for it to be worth sharing, because that one little thing that you know, somebody else might not know. And not only that, but it creates like an attitude of sharing information. Whereas before, when I was growing up, nobody shared their fishing marks, nobody shared their secrets, nobody shared anything. It was all just like, oh, I learnt the hard way, so you had to. Get away from that. I share everything I can, because hopefully if I do, then somebody else will, and they'll say, all right, well, that was nice, yeah, I'll share with him. And that, imagine how far you could be right now if someone had shared with you the things that you know now when you first started.
Did you work on the Harriers?
Yes, I did.
John M. Hi, John. In an earlier life, I worked as an engines airframes techie on a Harrier squadron in the RAF.
All right.
What trade were you in?
Oh, well, when I was a grubber. Yeah, I was a grubber in the. I was on 4 squadron and then 9 squadron. This is going to seem really boring to everybody else, but the final flight of the Harrier on Cottesmore, I was on the wing commander's jet of 4 squadron. And for any of you that might be able to look, me having the amazing sense of humour I drew a really big pair of on the side of his jet. Out the back of the exhaust, it always creates like a really greasy, oily streak up the back of the tail and up there. I drew a pair of boobs on it. So if you look in some of the photos when they're in formation up in the sky for the final flight of the Harrier, the wing commander's jet has got a pair of boobs drawn on the side of it. That was me. That was my claim to fame.
Is that a John Dory t-shirt? Yes, it is.
It absolutely is.
They are live on Tmail. Someone asked how tall I was.
Hannah is 6'12". So when she's wearing her heels, she can roundhouse kick me from across the room.
Yeah, I can anyway.
Right, I'll get back to some of these. Do you have a chemical toilet in the boat? No, we don't. We just have a bucket. And quite often what we do is, if James needs a toilet, I just hold on to him over the side like that.
It doesn't really, before you start
I don't.
phoning Childline or something.
Sometimes when the boat's going and it just washes him for it. No, I don't. It's a joke. Why not oysters? Right, we've already answered that one. That no lally one for the poils. Sorry. How long have we been married?
I didn't ask that. I'm not testing you. No, I
Right, James is 5. We got married when he was 1. It's 4 years. Yeah.
Done.
Yes.
Got it.
It's a good job we had a child. Yeah, we were supposed to get married and then we fell pregnant and then James was due the week of the wedding. So I kind of said to her, I said, well, you can have one or the other. What do you want to have? So we decided
I
to...
didn't really have much choice, did I?
So yeah, I'm always really good at negotiations like that. So yeah, we had James that year and then we just knocked the wedding on a year. So we had it the same week. Isaac, going fishing with his brother on a boat for the first time. Any advice on how to get the best out of the session and catch the most fish? If you are wanting a rig that will catch the most fish, you don't care what they are. The best rig, hands down, for catching numbers and variety of species is mackerel feathers with bait on them. So just a set of mackerel tinsels with little strips of mackerel or little strips of squid on. You'll catch 25 different species and yeah, that will catch you more than anything. Unless you're going to specialise on specific species, like if you're going for rays to use like a running ledger, yeah, baited feathers every time. And if you're going off on a boat and it's a proper charter boat, ask the skipper. Ask the skipper before time. Right, shore bones. Right, if I have missed your...
We've got 2 more pages to go through yet.
If
so
I have
it
missed
could
your
still be on
question...
there.
Right, I'm sorry, mate. Smelly old goat. Who is the good-looking girl next to you?
Wow.
Oh, this would be my wife. Miles, looking to upgrade to an 18 or a 19-foot boat with a small cabin. Any suggestions for a good one that will hold 4 rods? Yeah. Off the top of my head, straight away, day angler, an Orkney day angler, an Orkney pilot house comes in like 19, 21, 24. Just give them a Google. They are fantastic. Like an all-weather boat, got cabin up the front. Yeah, they're great. Pike fishing in winter, 100%. We would already be in Scotland right now doing it if the country wasn't.
I want to do more pike fishing. Did I ever catch one?
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I remember coming with you and them attacking the net, but I don't know if I actually caught
Was
one.
that when we were in Scarborough?
And then again when we were at that place down here. Big.
All right, yeah. Yeah, both.
I didn't know if I was allowed to say.
Yeah. Other pike lakes are available. What is your favourite time season for fishing? Summer. Got to be summer. I can get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go out at house in flip-flops and shorts and a t-shirt and wear that all day. And most of the time, actually, in summer, I go fishing on the boat. I haven't got any shoes on. I love that. Yeah, winter, you can't go out at house without long johns on. Is that you being funny?
Where?
How much do you pay me an hour?
No, someone else.
I don't understand. Are they being rude or are they being what?
No, they
Do
mean
they-
that
do they-
I'm come by the hour.
Yeah, are they trying to imply that I couldn't afford a lady like you and I couldn't get one and I had to pay for her? How cheeky. Keith, is Hannah's dad a trained chef? Yes. Jim, through life he's had restaurants and he's worked for, you know the tall, I don't know if any of you will know, you know the tall ships, like the old style, big wooden cutty sack style ships? Well, there is something called tall ships and they sail around the world.
It's a sail training.
Yeah, he was working on them for a lot of years, wasn't he?
He's worked for important people
And-
he's cooked for
Well, that's
lords
it.
and things.
There is a local lord and his family, a couple of like quite high up MPs that have had him as their personal chef.
He was Lord Sainsbury's chef, so Sainsbury's as in the supermarket. He was his chef on his private yacht for a while, and he was also Lord Falmouth's private family cook.
And he did train one of the master chefs. So yeah, he knows his stuff. Hence why when I catch something amazing, I don't cook it. What hooks for cod? Depends what you're fishing with. If you're fishing rough ground, like you're going fishing northeast into kelp beds, go with something strong but cheap. Just because you're going to lose them, and you could land one fish on it and chuck the hook away out after that. I would, as a pattern, I would say possibly a Viking or an O'Shaughnessy, a Specimen Extra, or a Manta. I'm not trying to be biased there. I've given you 3 different brands, all for a good pattern, and match the size to
the top.
Mick. I'll deal with it afterwards. I can speak to him personally afterwards.
Oh, right.
Match the size of the hook to the size of your bait. There's no point putting like a peeler crab and a blowy and a cart wing out if you've got it on a 1-0. Or the same way if you're going to put like a single small peeler and put it out on an 8-0. Match the size of the hook to the size of it. I'm sorry, my nose is tickling. I can't.
Someone has asked a couple of times now how
I need
your
to
nose
sneeze.
got bent.
Why
Or was it me?
Who's? Yeah, I don't know if people have noticed, but my nose is quite. Well, it's collapsed completely on one side. Yeah, I took a couple of size 12s to the face when I was younger.
What hurts?
What is best for autumn bass fishing in estuary, lures, dead, live baits? I'm looking for fish the Arran that runs fast. Right, Jim Berkmer, thank you very much for that. What I will say is you need to be careful when you're fishing inside of estuaries because, we've got an injury.
Apparently his foot hurts.
All right. Yeah, well, James watches Octonauts.
He's a bit of a key flimmer.
And there is a character in that's a penguin, and he's a medic, so he has a little medical kit, and he bandages up all the poorly fish and stuff like that in bandages. So James,
What?
right? Yeah, and the sick fish. That he said sick, not that other word.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. So James likes being bandaged up. I don't know. Right, that was it. Estuaries like the Fal, you're not allowed to use live sand eel because it's a bass nursery. You need to be careful. Make sure that you know what the regulations are in your area before you start it. My personal opinion, you will never beat a live bait because you can't beat the real thing. As for baits, if you're in an estuary and it's dirty, like as in it's dirty water, it's not clear, you want a smelly bait. Peeler crab, there isn't much that'll go past a peeler crab. Also, in the summer, live prawn is amazing. In the winter, it would be just as amazing, but they're harder to get. Dominic, what was your favourite subject at school? Right, I loved science. I was quite smart at school, but that was my problem. I hated being there. I just wanted to be out in woods or down at Scar or somewhere like that. I gave my teachers hell. And it's why it makes me laugh every time someone says, like, oh, you're an amazing teacher, you would be really good at teaching that. I just say, if my teachers could read that, they would laugh their pants off. Yeah, I got expelled from school. I don't, it was a terrible thing, and I would be utterly ashamed if my kids did. But yeah, I used to be terrible. PE, I ran cross country for Yorkshire. Funnily enough, actually, at school, I broke the school records for javelin, and then my younger brother come through and broke all my records, and then our youngest brother came through and broke all his records as well. So yeah, we're sport, science. I did. What didn't I like? I was quite good at geography as well. I just didn't. Have you ever got I'm hoping, James, that you're trying to say crayfish. Freshwater crayfish, yes, I've caught loads of those. Saltwater crayfish, no, that is a target of mine. I know where there are some, and the only problem is they're in about 18 metres of water, and I'm struggling to dive down that far and find them. Can you make the FishLocker captain hats with an anchor and a hook on them? You mean like a tricorn? You mean like a pirate's hat?
I mean, like a Captain Birdseye hat.
Hugh Williams, have you been approached by mainstream TV? Yes, we have, a few times. We were approached by the people who make Deadly's Catch, and we were approached by a couple of other people. The thing that has cut us down the most really has been COVID. It all stopped with that. It was all ready to go, and they were going to fly all of us around the world to do different foraging and fishing and all sorts, and then COVID happened, and then yeah, there's more important things going on in the world than that. And we've had a couple of other ones, smaller ones that have come to us, but they just don't share our vision or passion. They're not interested in the conservation or in the fishing or in the foraging. They're interested in someone being a clown for the camera, and that's not what our channel is. We're about like the education. So that was Hugh Williams, right? Mike Hyde, best catch of all time has to be My Beautiful Wife.
What do you want?
Cringe. Yeah, I am a soppy, like emotional type of guy, but yeah, absolutely, definitely, 100% is My Beautiful Wife. As soon as she was out fishing with me in middle of winter, we were out with Ray, weren't we? Down in Portsmouth. You went out cod fishing in Solent in like middle of winter with like a bunch of proper odd sea dogs, and she was there with a long straight and dead. Well, that was it. When we rocked up, and like I come down there with all my gear on, like I put all my gear on, and Hannah come out. There was like 4 of the guys that were on there, and they were all like been fishing for years, and looked at my gear that I was using and was like, "Who's this?" And then when I rocked up, and Hannah turned up as well, and she had like her long straightened hair and like her long manicured fingernails, and looks as she does. They're all like, "What the F have you brought her on here for? What a joke! This is going to be pathetic." And you outfished every single one of them.
Someone's asked if I've ever been seasick. Never, ever, ever. Touch wood.
I get seasick occasionally. This is why people have contacted me before. There is absolutely no shame in being seasick. Some people just get seasick. I generally get seasick when I'm overtired. Say like if I'm jet lagged. There are seasickness tablets on the market now that are fantastic. There's no shame in taking them. Does Hannah think you're obsessed with fishing? Richard Rilton.
I don't think you are. I know you are.
That's kind
It
of
was
like...
a decision I made, like an observation I made very quickly. And why do you think I go fishing? It was like I either have to do this too, or I'm never going to see him.
Can't beat him, join him. Phil Smith has learnt so much from your presentation. It's been like a bit... Right, we read that one. Chris Taylor, can you do a bass catch and cook? The guy who cooked the Doris Simpson stuff. Right, yes. My personal feelings on bass is I prefer to return every single one of them that I can. And that's just because I've killed enough of them in my lifetime when I was a commercial fisherman. And I know more now about the conservation efforts. They get an awful lot of pressure from commercial fishermen, and every man and his dog, they want to catch and keep a bass. I can let them go. The bass don't taste that much better than other sustainable fish for me. So I could take a pollock or a ling and I could leave the bass. For me, it doesn't really matter that much to me. If we ever do get another one that's capable size, that is deep hooked and won't go back, then we will take that one to Jim, and Jim will cook that up for us. I have occasionally taken him one or two because the one that got on, I don't know, I mentioned it in the video, the last one that I took to him, he was like, "Oh yeah, this is amazing, thank you very much, John." And then I got a message off him later on, he was like, "Yeah, I'm in casualty." I was like, "What have you done?" When he was scaling it, one of the spines went up his fingernail, like right up to the root, and snapped off, and he had to go into casualty, and they had to file down the top of his fingernail to lift the spike out. And afterwards he's like, "I couldn't even look at that fish afterwards." It's horrible. Yeah, we'll give you 29 minutes. No, 19 minutes. Cut it off the half past. We have got 15 minutes, and then we're going to have to... so the bass catch and cook, Chris, will be coming up. Mally Sangler Richardson finds it strange there hasn't been a bull shark caught in our waters. Is there a reason? Yeah, we don't get bull sharks. I absolutely don't. I mean, there's chance of a great white. Yeah, there is chance of a great white. There's chance of anything. In the same way that there is no physical barrier between anything other than the temperature of the water, and that is obviously what governs a lot of things. People who've mentioned, there has been 1 or 2 questions already tonight about great whites. I'll address it when I address this. Great whites, yes, there is a possibility that we could get them in our waters. Do we right now? I don't think so. The reason that I don't think so is because if we did, we would have concrete 100% proof of it by now. Everybody's got a camera phone. Everybody's got a camera. Somebody would have had a photo or a video, or the amount of diving or the amount of commercial fishing that goes on, the amount of shark lining that goes on from like the Spanish and the French over in like the Irish Sea. If there was one around, we would have seen it. And none of these, oh yeah, well this guy said he's, no, it was probably a basking shark. Or yeah, some guy was in a paddle, but no, it was a poor beagle. Every single time, it's all, when someone who was like a scientist who has tagged and knows great whites catches one, then they're here. Until then, they're not. That's it. I mean, yeah, they can be. The water's fine. You get me in Nova Scotia, which is pretty much the same latitude. And there are loads of seals for them. So, yeah, they could live here. I mean, we do get orcas, but right now, no, I don't. I don't think there are. Great whites were off Scotland, but not released. How do you mean not released? You mean that they saw them, but they didn't release it to the public? I don't think that's possible, mate. Just like the tuna. When the tuna were here and they said, oh yeah, they've been here for ages. They hadn't. If there was a great white spotted anywhere, it would be all over the news. It would absolutely, even when they see like a poor beagle, it's like cousin to the great white. Or, yeah, it wouldn't be kept secret. Where are we? Done that. Right. Is this the last one?
Yeah, there's nothing more.
Right. Last one. Oh, the nose getting dry. I'll leave that on there.
What is that?
Master Fisherman, will you be doing any shore fishing for cod in Whitby? It is unlikely that it'll be Whitby, just because it's pretty much as far across the other part of the country as you can get. But there is a chance. I was just talking to someone tonight actually about cod fishing in the Bristol Channel. We will be doing some more cod fishing, but it's unlikely that it'll be Whitby. What are you laughing at now?
Were you in Ibiza in 1992? No, he was like 6 in 1992.
Yeah. Yeah, I was born in 1986. That's BBC filming a great white in the UK waters. It's funny, I've never heard anything about that. If you're on about a YouTube video, that doesn't make it true. Just want to say I'm ex-infantry Iraq and your videos have helped me so much. Joseph, it is absolutely my pleasure. If our videos in any way help folks either by learning or by feeling better or by like in a kinship, or there are a few people that I know that can't do the things that we do. Like some of the boys that, Phil Horton, you are absolutely nail on the head there. Yeah, there are some people that can't go on the cliffs anymore, or they can't go on the boats anymore. People who live vicariously through our videos. Yeah, the effort that we go to is fully justified if it helps one person. That's as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, take care of yourself, brother. Velvet spider or brown crabs? If I was going to rank them, I would probably say brown crab, velvet crab, spider crab. Spider crabs, they're all right. They're just a faff. They're just a drama, aren't they? You get like a massive male, yeah, you could have like one off. It'd be a real nice treat. But brown crabs, you get a lot better meat, a lot easier to pick. Velvet crabs do taste really nice, but the only problem with that is it's yeah. Keep an eye on it. Velvets are too small, so you'd have to kill like 20 of them to make the same as one brown crab. That's the only reason why we don't. Regan Robinson, do you use fluorocarbon for all your hook links from Amelia and Sienna? No, not all of them. I was of mixed opinions of fluorocarbon a couple of years ago until I started properly using them in the right settings. When I'm live baiting, I will only ever use fluoro because it does make that much of a difference. When I'm fishing for things like bullus and thornback rays, you could use string and you would still catch. So when it's things like conger, I use like a tough, strong mono. I use 300 or 200 pound mono just because it's cheaper and it's stronger. A stretch of 20 yards of fluoro will cost you about 70 quid, whereas a spool of 200 metres of 200 pound mono will cost you a tenner. So there are some times when it's absolutely necessary and it's perfect. Other times it's just not needed.
People keep asking for the bass story. He did it in the beginning, so you'll have to watch it back.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've already explained that. Yeah, thanks, Neil. This is another thing actually that I will mention, and it'll come back onto like when I said about people interacting. if you see on any of the comment threads, on any of the videos or any of the posts, if you see anyone being unpleasant, I will try and say that. If you see anyone being outrageous, if they're saying anything offensive or they're being argumentative or anything like that, can you flag it up to me? Either screenshot it and send me a message or do something like that, because there's that many goes on that either when I'm out filming or when I'm doing something. Oh, well, you're in a brain back of your head with that, aren't you? Can you flag it up to me?
So glad I put them there.
Either report it or flag it up to me, because sometimes I miss it. There was one that went on the other day, and by the time I caught it, it was 10 comments down the thread. And one guy must have just been having a really bad day because he was just being really unnecessary. Now, all I will do in that situation is I will take them both out and I will just say, look, yeah, what's the beef? What's the problem? Talk to me about it. And if the person's set on being an ass, I will just ask them not to participate in future. Because there's no need for us to be nasty to each other, is there? I mean, I understand that people are stressed at the moment, and that, yeah. Bobby Crispy, yes, I have fly fished, and I have actually. I'm not going to tell too much about it, but there is a mate of mine who has sent me a fly rod. He's going to get his own video dedicated to him. Why do you use Lurpak, and is Lurpak why you've got 6 dislikes?
Probably.
The dislikes on our video, I wouldn't read too much into it. We have a couple of very, very loyal trolls who subscribe to the channel just to dislike the videos. You can tell because within 20 seconds of the video going up, it's got dislikes on it. You haven't even, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter. It's fishing, foraging, cooking, doesn't matter. They just seem to be that unhappy in their general life that they feel like they have to try and spread it around. So don't take it to heart. You shouldn't let somebody else's crappy outlook on life upset yourself. Yeah, fishing Tom, it happens, mate. Don't let it bother you. It says more about them than it does about your video. And in fact, over the fact that I get dislikes on every video, the only person who has said anything to say was on the cooking video. And I thanked him for doing it, because he said, this is the reason why I've given you a dislike. And I could have a conversation with him, because that was perfect. Because if you're just going to be like that, then we might as well not bother. I mean, it doesn't hurt the channel. A dislike is still interaction. It's the same as a like. YouTube doesn't differentiate between a dislike and a like. It's all interaction. So by disliking the video, you're still helping me. If you wanted to hurt me, don't watch the video at all. By subscribing to my channel and watching my videos, you're helping the channel. It just makes me laugh. This is why. Don't get upset by it. Just ignore them. I will... Gabrielle Blanco, if that is your real name, can we go to Whitby to meet her and her dad and bring Hayes and she can get your makeup tips?
If you want my makeup tips, you can message me on Instagram.
If you want anything from Hannah like that, message her directly on Instagram. First thing I would have to do there is I would have to track down whatever tree stump Hayes is living in right now, because he's just gone full bushcraft. It's just like last time I spoke to him on like FaceTime or somewhere, he just had moss all over him. So yeah, I would have to track down whatever cave he's living in, and then we'd have to try and sort something out. I will say that probably it's not going to happen this year, because unfortunately, yeah, the rest of the country is kind of locked down now. It is what it is. I think there's more important things going on at the moment. As soon as things are calm. Byron, sorry. Thank you. When things are calmer. Adrian. Better not say anything about that, because it'll just upset him again. It just seems to be very sensitive. I will say though, not all of them, because I have got a couple of people that talk to me from there, and they are 100%. They're absolutely spot on. Like Troy. How could someone get into marine biology that doesn't have any background? You don't need to have a background in anything. Just like saying that you...
Well, I mean, don't be a surgeon.
No, you're not born with it, though, are you? Surgeons aren't born with that knowledge. They learn it.
No.
It's just like saying...
Just don't go and do it.
If I don't know French, I will start by getting an introduction to French book, and I'll start by reading it. And then generally, as you get more proficient in something, people of a similar passion, they find each other. Just it's like magnets. You end up where, like the group of people that I'm into, like Jason Gillespie and Win Comben and Ben Carter, and there's ever so many people that are into small boating. You find each other. The same with biology. There's half a dozen people now that I've met through the channel. Is like Matt Slater, who's part of Shore Search, or like Ben Marshall, who's part of the Padstow Hatchery. You find people like that.
Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Was that in like a fortune cookie or something like that? Yeah, it sounds quite good, that.
You get back what you put out, don't you? It's
Yeah, you
all
do.
about your energy.
Well, that is it,
You're gonna be
exactly.
a
That
negative
goes.
shit, then.
That's it. That comes back onto like the disliking thing. You get back what you put out. If you've got negative energy about you,
You're going to attract the negative
yeah,
energy.
it'll come back to you. Just like saying, if you're positive, you stop banging your head on that, or I'm going to take
got
it
nothing
down.
on but love for the shelf that keeps hitting me in the back of the head.
Yeah,
George trying to
it just
do
like when
something.
there's been ever so many times throughout my life, like when I was in the Navy, and I used to volunteer for stuff. I used to volunteer for drafts. I used to volunteer for. They were pinging people for stuff like duties, and I'd be like, oh no, I'll do that. Like I volunteered for the Olympics because I thought that'd be amazing. People would say, oh, that's terrible. Why are you doing that? It was one of the best experiences of my life. If you have got a positive attitude, positive things come to you. They probably were going to happen anyway, but because you've got a positive mindset, you see that opportunity as being a positive opportunity. Yeah, that's the only way to look at it, is you have to be positive. Negative people, everybody knows one, don't they? It wouldn't matter. It could fall in harbour and they'd come out with a gold watch and they'd say, oh yeah, well, it's not the right colour. Or they'd find a fiver and they'd say, oh, it could have been better if it was a tenner. Some people are just like that. You've got to be one of the positive ones. And positive people attract each other as well, don't you? You always love being around someone that's always positive because they bring your own mood up. That's part of what we're trying to do here. Do you use own country rods from the shore? Right, country rods, fishing lad, that's amazing. Don't forget to text me, to send me that private message about the wind noise. Country rods, for anyone who doesn't understand, a continental style of fishing is generally a longer, thinner, fixed spool rod. And then it's got a whippier tip on the top. People who are just starting out shore fishing will probably find the continental style of rods and reels will be more suited to you because by them being longer, like 14 foot, they're generally easier to get casting distance if you haven't got an awful lot of experience. And fixed spool reels are almost impossible to bird's nest. You can get wind knots on them, but where you've got a multiplier, there's a good chance. I mean, I'm not a very good caster with a multiplier. I'll probably bird's nest 1 in 3. With a fixed spool, yeah. Can you make your own rods and reels? I have done a rod rebuild video on the FishLocker workshop channel, but to be honest, I don't have the time.
Someone's asked if we've ever been to Rick Stein's fish and chip shop and are they as good as Magpies in Whitby?
Yes, I have, and no, they're not.
It's not very good at all. If you're ever in Cornwall and you want a good fish and chip shop, come to Truro and go to Soul Place. That's where we go, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't have any affiliation with
Soul,
them.
yeah,
It's
Soul
just
Place
always
is just,
really
it's
tasty.
a really little, like,
Yeah, it's a proper little
it probably
tiny
only
shop.
fits 5 people inside the shop. They've got some tables down the back. Yeah, Rick Stein's.
It's all just a bit
Yeah.
overrated, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. We'll probably get Rick Stein send me a really abusive message.
It's alright, he can come and cook for us and prove us wrong. Come on, Rick.
Unfortunately, as has happened with an awful lot of places in Falmouth,
Oh my god, him and my dad could have a cook-off.
I think they'd end up scrapping.
I think they know each other.
Your dad probably taught him everything he knows. Took about
Rick's
20
on
minutes. Yeah, unfortunately, with a lot of the places in Falmouth, like the cooking, the eateries, is they employ a lot of students to do their cooking, to do their waiting on, to do their bar work, to do their table clearing. And I know, and this isn't for all of them, but the majority of them have got absolutely no interest in being there. So their service that they give is subpar. They've got no pride in it. This is one of the things that I've said this quite a lot, and I think it's because people see the service industry in the UK as being a bit of a menial job, as like a poor job that you wouldn't want to have. Whereas if you ever go to the States and you get a waitress there, they are amazing. There's one of them in Houston, and it's an IHOP, and I've been there probably about 300 times over 5 years, and I hadn't been back for like 12 months, and I went in at 3 o'clock in the morning when I come off like a night shift, and walked in, and it was the same guy working there, and he went, all right, John, you're having the usual. I was like, I haven't been back here in 10 months, and he'd remembered my order. That is good service. Most of them don't have that in the UK. And yeah, I would you say, What's the spot on the bank near the chain locker called?
The fish and chip shop, Harbour Lights.
Right, Harbour, would you say?
That used to be incredible, but I don't rate it anymore.
We actually did go in the chain locker the other day where there was a boat, there was a naming ceremony for a new boat in Falmouth called Wet Wheels, which is, we'll be doing more with them as it comes on, because it's a disabled charity that runs a charter boat that takes disabled anglers out. It was their naming ceremony, and we just popped in and we had a bite to eat in the chain locker. Now, the chain locker before didn't used to be very good. This was,
it was really good, wasn't it?
It was amazing, and it was really reasonably priced. So the chain locker in Falmouth, in Whitby. Yeah, anybody, I had this conversation with someone the other day. Fish and chips in Whitby, I would say, if you don't mind waiting like 6 hours, Nunkin, any plans to bring your rods to Ireland in 2021? Yes, we'd hoped to be able to do a camping holiday in Ireland, in the south coast of Ireland. We went there a couple of years ago, well, was it 4 years ago when James was little? We do hope to go back, but unfortunately, yeah.
We've got so many plans. In
Whitby, Magpie, if you don't mind waiting 4 or 5 hours to get a table to eat fish and chips, then Magpie's good.
I like the other one.
Trenches, on the other hand, you've got less of a wait time, and they do posh fish and chips.
It's really tasty.
They are fantastic. In fact, actually, my first job was, my first proper job when I got paid with a pay packet, was table clearing in there for £2.10 an hour. It used to be an old one and it burnt down, and when it first reopened, it's owned by, God, I can't even remember the name, Terry and his 2 sisters. In fact, yeah, I'm talking about something that was 25 years ago. But yeah, Trenches is the best place.
Someone asked what
if you're going to go for a takeaway, I would go to Fusco's, which is, there's one down on Baxter Gate, which is right down at the end towards, I can't even remember the name of the hill, down Dinner Hill. And then if you go down the other side, down the pier, towards Pier Road, there is Quayside, which is still Fusco's. Now, Fusco's is the name of the family that own it, isn't the name of the restaurant. That's completely relevant to like 95% of these people. So the place is excellent, and you can park on the pavement. Not right now, you can't.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah, you're maybe not supposed to. Would you collab with Totally Awesome Sea Fishing? We met Graham, and we were very underwhelmed by his
it was
people skills.
Years before we started doing YouTube, and before it was even an idea, even before we had James, we used to get so excited for Friday nights, didn't we, when Totally Awesome Fishing would upload, and we would sit and watch it together. And then when we met him, it was just like, oh,
yeah,
you're not as nice as you are on telly.
He knew who I was, and he come to Falmouth. He come to Myla, and he pulled up with his boat, and I was down there with James and Anna.
We were eating, weren't we?
And then I went up and had a chat with him, and I posted a picture of it actually on a FishLocker. It's on the Instagram, and I got talking to him, and he said, "All right, yeah, blah blah blah." And I says, "Well, at the moment, the sharks, you need to go here because the water's dirty." And I said, "I've just been out today, and I've got some fresh mackerel on my boat. If you want half a dozen," and I give him half a dozen fresh hook baits, because mackerel were hard to find, and I give him some local info because he did 2 videos when he was down here, and he called it something like man alone on a boat fishing for giant eels, and he did another one where it was man on a boat fishing in shark infested waters, and I gave him the marks for both, and I gave him the fresh baits, and then in the video he just said, "Oh yeah, I've got some fresh baits from some lad." And then when he come in the next day, and I was like, "All right, mate, how did it work?" And, "Oh yeah, I got 2 sharks." And I just said, "Oh well, when you come down here again, if you want to do any filming together or anything like that, just turn straight around," and just walked off. And I caught him up, and I was like, "Just take my phone number." He's like, "Nah." Didn't even take my phone number. I mean, he could have been polite enough and just gone, "Oh yeah, right, thanks," and I got my phone number later and just gone. Chucked it in bin later on. Wouldn't even stop long enough to take my phone number. I was like, so okay, fair enough. Well, no love lost. What have we got here? Stateside service is amazing. What? Have you ever been to? They're hilarious. Right, Nunkin. Any plans? Yeah, I've already answered that.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at the time.
Sorry. Right, yes, I have. I've gone over. We've been on here. We've been in here a long time, haven't we? Christ. Yeah, we have. For everyone that's taken part, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I love the community that has grown around the channel. Yeah, we have met and we talk to regularly some fantastic people now that we wouldn't have met through all of this. Like I've said, please just be nice to each other. I know we're all stressed and we're all struggling it and we're all having not a very great time about this. But everybody's in the same boat. If someone's being a little bit short with you, maybe think they've maybe had a bad day. So give them a little bit of stretch. And the same way that think about the fact that the people that you're speaking to might have had a bad day. If any of you see anything that's been going on in the comments or in the feeds and I haven't picked up on it because I can't be everywhere at once, please try and flag it up to me, because nobody deserves to have someone be nasty to them, especially not when this isn't what we're about. If any of you have any suggestions for videos or things like that you think we should try and do, let us know. At the end of the day, we're just here sharing what we know and what we love doing. Get some moderators. I have considered it, but to be honest, the people that are generally on this channel are nice enough that we don't need them, and they generally are nice enough to each other. If you do see some other channels and they've got like 25 moderators, you've got to think, why do they need that many? It's not needed. I mean, we have talked to one or two other people who've just said, look, if we start doing these a lot more often and people start being nasty, do you want to be a moderator? And I was like, oh yeah, we'll step up, no problem. But yeah, well, we haven't needed to. If anybody's interested in there will be no obligation for all of this. If anybody's interested in knowing more about what we do for a living that manages to allow us this type of lifestyle where we can make where I can go fishing every day that I want, or when I'm going camping, or when we're going all over the place. If anybody wants to know any more about that, send Hannah a message on Instagram. Now, you just have to look for Locker Hannah, or message us on the FishLocker Facebook page and we'll direct you through. If there are any questions that we have missed, I'm very sorry, but as you can tell, they've just been coming thick and fast. For anybody who's made a donation, like a super chat or a super sticker, thank you very much. That is amazing. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. Well, anybody, there have been a few people that have been asking, this t-shirt, this John Dory t-shirt, they are available from the T-Mill shop. Yeah, it wasn't my idea. 2 or 3 of the people in the video said, right, you need to immortalise that like you did with Pinchy Thanos, and I thought, all right, I'll give it a go, and I really like it actually. So yeah, that's on the T-Mill site, and the T-Mill link is pinned to the top of the FishLocker Facebook page, and I think it's also in the description of some of the videos. I will wish you all the very best, and we'll see you later.